This is Christian Olde Wolbers. I play with Cypress Hill, Vio-Lence, Blood Clot, many other bands, and this is Touching Bass on EMGtv. Well, why bass for me is basically, I think I heard it was Bill Haley and the Comets. It was Around the Clock, rockabilly song, and the bass, the upright bass in that song sounded like a kick drum kind of. And I remember that spoke to me when I was like around 6 years old. And I remember that really spoke to me. And then years later, I see that same upright bass again in a band called the Stray Cats. And I think it was their first single in the early 80s, maybe 81. And it was Runaway Boys. And again, that bass really grabbed me. So I think I always had this passion for bass, even though I ended up playing guitar after that. It was Fear Factory who needed a bass player once I stumbled into their camp, and they were like, we need a bass player, not a guitar player. Can you play bass? We actually need a guitar player that plays guitar on bass. So that's kind of what happened, and that's why I play bass today. I think the most influential bass player for myself, I mean, this is a really broad question. Everybody has, their own influential person that they look up to as far as kicking that low end. For me, I think it has to be Cliff Burton. I think what he did on Master of Puppets was just from another world. I mean, it was such a different instrument compared to, the brutal guitar assault that we always used to hear from bands like Metallica and stuff. But what Cliff was doing was so eerie, and he was in this different realm on his own, and it just, what it did to the music of Metallica was just really magic. And I think to me, he's the most iconic person as far as bass playing. So my number one bass, I had a few over my, over the 20 some years of my career. It's definitely a Fender, and it has a cool story behind it. It's a 4-string black Fender. I called it Blackie. And when I went to the Fender custom shop around 1999, maybe early 2000, I needed a 4-string. And I was usually playing 5 strings, but I needed a 4-string for a couple songs. And Alex Press at the custom shop presented me with a body. It was a black body, it was a jazz body, and he had made it for Chi from Deftones, but he liked the precision basses better, and the jazz body was basically hanging on his wall in his shop. And he goes, what about this body? I made it for Chi, and he doesn't like it. So I'm like, okay, good, we got a body, awesome. And it was Chi that he rejected that bass. So I got the body, and then he goes, let's look for a neck for it. And he was looking for a neck, and I saw this neck hanging on the wall, and it was a black Fender neck. And I was like, what about this black neck? Black neck, black bass. He goes, well, it's not a jazz neck, it's a P bass neck. And I'm like, whatever, it's a little wider, it'll work fine for me. So the neck actually belonged to Duff McKagan. So he didn't like the neck because he switched to jazz bass necks on his precision bass. So basically I got this hybrid of a Duff McKagan neck and a Chi Cheng body that I put together. And the bass has a lot of mojo, and it's seen some stages, and it's seen a lot of studio work, and until this day it's still one of my favorite basses. It's very special, and I pull it out once in a while. A bass player that I would love to fill his shoes in would probably be Adam Yauch from MCA from the Beastie Boys. He plays upright bass, I play upright bass. He plays hardcore punk music. I grew up playing hardcore punk music. The admiration that the Beastie Boys had and he had for a lot of 70s music. I love a lot of 70s music. I think it's a great way to get your skills up, like, you know, listen to a lot of 70s bass players and emulate their playing. And I think the Beastie Boys are, you know, definitely, they're one of those bands that hit so many different styles of music, and I think it would be one of those bands I would never be bored in. Well, bass techniques, you know, there's different versions of people, the way they play. Some people play, they slap, some people play with a pick, and some people play with their fingers. So I think it's actually a good technique to learn all of them a little bit, you know, so you have a little bit of both, of all three worlds basically. For me, I play mainly with a pick, so I love playing with my fingers on other different things, different projects, just to switch it up. And over the years, I've learned to play with my fingers a lot better. And I think if you're a pick player, you should try to play with your fingers as well. If you're mainly a finger player, you should definitely try to learn with a pick. And I think you know, the down picking, up picking, it's going to definitely lock in with a kick drum a lot easier when you're playing on the record. So sometimes when you're playing on an album, the fingers won't do it. So you got to be able to, the producer is like, oh, play with a pick on this one. And you can't play with a pick, now you're kind of like, you know, you lose out. So I think it's important as a bass player or any musician to try to learn multiple styles of your craftsmanship and be able to, you know, you're definitely, you know, be a little bit of a Swiss Army knife as far as bass playing. And try to learn a little bit of it all. I'm not a good slapper, but I know how to slap a little bit. I'm not the best finger player, but I know how to play my fingers. But I do know how to play with a pick, and that's definitely my main. That's the money for me, is pick playing. There's so many combinations. I think it'd make more sense if you pick two people with the same last name or something, and make it a little harder. Put a drummer and a bass player together with the same last name, that would be the ultimate rhythm section. Okay, I think I got one. What about Phil Collins and Bootsy Collins?